It's time to talk with Jay Foss.
Thanks so much for calling in. I really appreciate you.
You're welcome. I appreciate you too, Jay Foss.
The magic happens when you have the right person in the right place at the right time.
If we're having fun, everyone else is going to have fun naturally.
Keep it local radio.
I'm obsessed with transformations on this show. And so I guess that in this case, you are that paradigm shift. You are.
It's time to talk with Jay Foss.
Thanks so much for calling in. I really appreciate you.
You're welcome. I appreciate you too, Jay Foss.
The magic happens when you have the right person in the right place at the right time.
If we're having fun, everyone else is going to have fun naturally.
Keep it local radio.
I'm obsessed with transformations on this show. And so I guess that in this case, you are that paradigm shift. You are the thing that transforms people. That's what people call me.
Want to connect with Jay? Dial in.
But then the question is everyone tuned into the right frequency?
Are you tuned in?
Making our corner of the world a little brighter.
Did you make the right decision here? Like, are you, did you bite off more than you can chew?
In figuring out what makes people tick whenever we start something new.
Yeah.
There's always that question of
raising your inner voice.
Wait, was this too much? Did I start hiking a mountain that's a little too high for my level of experience?
With Jay Foss.
It's a quote by Thoreau. The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it.
Not just another talk show.
We cover all things that make us human.
It's time to be heard.
How can my values and how can these inner thoughts that I have help me be a more whole human being?
Online and on air.
We can't legislate being a good, decent human being. So what can we do? We can become more active in this community.
Raising your inner voice with Jay Foss.
And hey, party people, welcome back to Raising Your Inner Voice here on this Sunday evening. And what do we do on this show? We figure out who you are, what makes you tick, what makes life worth living for you. Because, see, I have this belief that we're all interrelated and interconnected. In fact, we can learn from each other, listening to each other, listening to ourselves respond to each other. And I think that there's a lot of wisdom there. And I believe, I could be wrong here, but I believe that we have a lot that we can learn just from listening to each other. Some ways that we do this is through having guests on the show. And anyone who is a guest, I love having guests on, particularly if they share different perspectives than myself, because that means that I'm learning something new, something interesting, something intriguing, which is always fun. But there are shows like tonight where there are no guests. You are the guest, and I give listeners a chance to chime in and join the conversation because this is a live program. It's basically a recorded live program. In that sense, when we have guests, that means that there's not usually too much interaction for outside people, though we love it. If you're around and want to chime into a conversation when I'm featured a guest, please feel free to chime into the conversation. But especially on evenings where there are no guests, I really love to highlight listeners and let you kind of take the spotlight and bounce some ideas off of me, because this show isn't just about me. It's about us coming together, collaborating, figuring out what makes life worth living. And that just so happens to be the topic for this evening: seizing the day, embracing today. Are you doing that? Is that something worth doing in your book? I think it is. I think that it's a natural tendency that we all have, is to actually embrace today, to live for today, to not want to waste our time on this planet while we're alive doing things that are meaningless to us. No. I think that naturally we all want to live out the best life that we can. And would love to get you to chime in to the conversation. If you want to call in, you're welcome to call in 617-843-5393. Again, that's 617-843-5393. Though I mean, in this day and age, most people aren't calling into the show. Most people are commenting on the show. So feel free to look us up on YouTube if you want to comment live, or just comment on any of the podcast platforms that you're listening on, and I will make sure to feature your comment and get back to you and highlight it. And yeah, maybe you have an idea for me. I actually had a recent listener, Chris. Shout out to Chris. Thanks so much for the feedback, Chris. He was saying that I need to have more perspectives on this show, that good radio, because ultimately this is a radio program. The audio and what you're getting from it is the main function and core of the program. Yeah, there's video on YouTube. Yeah, you're able to check out all of that. That's not to downplay that, but really it's the conversation is the spotlight for you. So it is a radio program, but Chris was saying that with radio programs, it's good to have the counterpoint, or rather the counterbalance, the yin to the yang. And he was saying that I need to go ahead and branch out a little bit to get more opposition, I think is the word that he used. So how can we get more opposition? Well, one way is obviously by bringing outside sources in and letting people. The problem here is, for me, a lot of these conversations, when it's outside conversations that happen with opposing forces, is that people end up getting into arguments and screaming matches, and it's not civilized, right? Somehow we lose our common sense. Sometimes we lose our civility towards each other when that happens. And I'm all about bringing in opposition. In fact, that's what I've tried to do many times, despite not having formal opposition. You can hear it. You know, if you've heard the show, you know that I try to bring in the opposing thought or feeling. I mean, we're full creatures here, right? So if we're full creatures with thoughts, feelings, bodies, spirits, you name it, we've got it. It's like a generic ad. We sell everything. Well, you don't really sell everything. I haven't found a store that sells everything just yet. For all your needs. Well, I'm sure I have needs that are outside of whatever it is. Anyways, that's going down a little bit of a rabbit hole. But I tried to bring those opposing forces within myself, just as you can. And in doing that, I think that we're able to make better decisions. And that's a part of life, right? Making decisions, trying to be okay with decisions. Did I make the right decision? Am I weighing my pros and cons? We all have that capability within ourselves to look at more than one perspective. And in doing that, we're able to broaden our decision-making capabilities. And ultimately, I think that is what helps us to embrace the day as it's unfolding, and as we are clear on what we're doing with our time. Does that all make sense? I think you're on the same page. Dear listener, for anyone just tuning in, we're talking on Raising Your Inner Voice this evening, all about embracing today. In ways in which you can do that, I think you have the capability within yourself to balance yourself, just as I can do with myself. So it's weighing those pros and cons in any decision, in anything that you're doing. You can weigh the different perspective yourself. You don't necessarily need to have an outside force do that for you. Though when it does, it's much easier, right? Because you have less work to do if you're being faced with an opposition. The problem, of course, is that we don't like change. We don't like perspectives that are outside of our own. So as a result, it's more jarring when it's outside of ourselves. It may be healthy, but it's more jarring. But in being a full person, in being a whole person, I think that we have those capabilities to say, you know what? This is only my perspective. This is only my thoughts on this. Can I think outside of myself? And that's where I think that, particularly for decision-making times, that we're able to do that. And I think that that will help us to be more in the present moment, to live more eternally from this moment in time. If you're making better choices, better decisions, not better in a ethical sense, but better than what you would be doing otherwise. And that, I think, is very helpful. But I don't know, is it easier for you to get feedback and outside perspectives from other people? Maybe it isn't as full of a picture when you're trying to bring opposition from within yourself, when you're trying to get outside of your frame of reference. Maybe you can't do as good of a job as when you're faced with someone who has a different opinion. And I mean, this can be something as simple as purchasing a car. This can be something more complicated, like buying a house. This can be, picking out your favorite product at the store. I mean, many times, for those who don't know, I used to work at a radio station promoting and recording clients. And many times I've learned we don't know necessarily what we're being sold, particularly in this day and age. Why is it that you're driving the car that you're driving? Why is it that you're buying the milk that you're buying? I mean, a lot of it, right, gets to what are loved ones doing. Beyond loved ones, what really resonates with your core values. And those are going to be what you're attracted to. So it's less about buying a brand because you like the brand. It's more about the value that you see in the brand and how you want to be seen in the world. That's why you're choosing what you're choosing. And of course, I mean, there are more rigid constraints to it than that. But that's my marketing communications background showing itself a little bit. But making the decisions that you're making, as we're striving to be full human beings. I mean, that's a silly phrase because we're not striving to be full people. You are already a complete person. You may not be developed all the way yet. Wouldn't that be nice? Instead of looking at people who view things differently, it's like, well, they're just developed differently. They may have a different perspective than me. Either they're further along than me, or they're not quite up to me, or they're right on par with me, but have a completely opposite set of values themselves. And I think this is easy to do with topics that don't touch on, right, politics or religion or taxes or anything that's controversial. Because when we get into controversial conversations, that's where we put all of our heart, mind, and right into our beings. We put more heavily weighted on those conversations. So it seems like more is at stake. And there are times when more is in fact at stake. But most of the time, it's talking heads. It's people who either like to hear their own perspective or want to try to convince you that you're wrong and that you should change your perspective. That's okay. It's okay to disagree. Here's the question for me, at least, is can I understand where they're coming from? Because if I can't even find that understanding within myself, if I can't get that full spectrum of opinion from within myself, if I can't understand that, there's no way anyone else is going to be able to express and communicate that clearly to me, because I'm still caught within my own perspective. Does that make sense? So if I can't understand you and you can't understand me, communicating with each other is a significant challenge. Particularly when the stakes are high. So what do? I think we can try to expand and grow ourselves. And in expanding and growing ourselves, in branching out, maybe just in taking a deep breath, we will be able to see more perspectives. We will be able to get to the other side of understanding. Something related to this that is fun to think about is, when was the last time you were wrong about something? Because I don't know about you, but I've had certain beliefs growing up and at certain phases and stages of my life where I believe something fundamentally to be true. And with more maturing, I've learned and outgrown that. I've learned that it wasn't necessarily true with a capital T, maybe true with the lowercase t. But even there, I've learned things that otherwise it's like, oh, why did I believe that for so long? Why did I think that was absolute truth, that it was something that really was profound, when in reality, it wasn't? So how do we unlearn that? Well, I think that practicing this approach of raising your inner voice is one such way of doing that. And I hope it's meaningful to you. I hope that you're able to grasp something of what I'm trying to communicate and come across, and that it's not too ethereal, but rather is something that is meaningful. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say, go ahead and embrace the day. Spend your time on what it is. This is basically a big encouragement for you to keep listening to yourself, particularly if you're surrounded by people who disagree with you. I think that we all know about disagreements, so I don't necessarily have to spotlight that here and now. I can spotlight you here and now as I'm talking about this lived experience that we're all experiencing. You get it. We'll be back on the show talking about and encouraging you to embrace the day.
Stay with us as we continue raising your inner voice with Jay Foss.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber. If you're replacing the windows in your home, please see the Anderson 400 series windows on display at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or Plastown, New Hampshire. The Anderson 400 is attractive, durable, energy efficient, and reasonably priced. Remember, Anderson is the most trusted name in windows. See the Anderson 400 at any of our 3 locations. That's North Reading, Beverly, or Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Moynihan Lumber, we measure up.
If you have any issues, topics, or voices that you think would be great to be heard on this show, please reach out, jay.foss@me.com. If you want to add your voice to the conversation, record a voice memo and email it to me, or tune in live Sunday evenings at 7 p.m.
How's your 401k? I'm Luke Noble of Noble Financial Group. As a certified financial planner, I know you can't plan for everything, but we can prepare you for life's twists and turns. We'll make a plan to help your money last through your retirement years. Our team is dedicated to helping you achieve your financial goals. Let us help. Visit noblefinancialgroupllc.com.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through MML Investor Services. Member SIPC. Noble Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of MML Investor Services.
Making our corner of the world a little brighter, online and on air. Raising your inner voice with Jay Foss.
And welcome back to Raising Your Inner Voice. We are on the air, so to speak. We're transmuting over the air, over the internet to you. And who knew that we would be where we are technologically speaking? But I think a lot of it has to do with people following their inner calling, following what they're doing by spending their time on things that seemed worthwhile to them. And that's how we got here. That sums up human existence, doesn't it? People figuring out life. And listening to themselves, I think is a great expression of that. So going back today, we're talking all about embracing the day, living for today, seizing today. And what are ways that you can do that? Well, as a DJ, I mean, you know where I go with the music vibe. It's picking music and songs that you like and paying attention to that. Spending your time on things that make you come alive, make you feel alive, get you out dancing, get you going. But knowing that there's also a time for the opposite. There are times where it's about dancing in the rain, and there are times where it's about sitting and letting the weather affect your mood, and perhaps being a bit more somber about things. And that's usually when you get hit in the head with life itself, and something that you didn't foresee or expect to happen happens, and you need to figure out how to process it all. Well, you can start by processing it through just being, letting yourself feel the way that you're feeling, letting yourself emote however it is that your emotions are going. Let your thoughts wander as you need to. And in that same vein, perhaps it means not taking yourself too seriously. Because we're all trying to figure out and uncover the meaning of things. Or at least I think we are. I feel like we are. I feel it in my bones, in my body. We're figuring out the meaning of things. And ultimately, the meaning that we get from many things is the meaning that we read into many things. Not always. There are times where we are completely blindsided from something without us. But even then, the meaning that we give to it is how we're interpreting the unfolding of life. So that's why I think that we need to continue embracing each day as it changes, as it comes, and taking times like this to do that. And knowing that ultimately giving yourself space is a beneficial thing in the growing process. And that's what we're after, is growth. And with growth, ultimately will come understanding. And when you apply that understanding, then it blossoms into wisdom. And it's funny how life changes like that, isn't it? Usually in going through pain, when you come out on the other side, not saying that things are no longer painful, but perhaps rather when you gain understanding of your pain, you are invigorated with a sense of being alive and living more fully. And knowing that none of us can walk in another person's shoes. So it's like finding that balance, right? Of knowing when to decide and make decisions for yourself and when to know that you can't decide for someone else. And that's where I think I don't want the conversations devolving into an argument, into a he said, she said, they said conversation. Would love to get your views on this. The number to call, 617-843-5393, or you can shoot me a message, jay.foss@me.com. Gaining understanding and insights, right? We get insight when we can listen to other people and really delve deep dives into new topics. What are different topics that appeal to you? What are different topics or guests that I need to revisit? And it's not all about me. What are topics that you need to dive into? What are topics that you might need to revisit? What are topics we both need to walk away from? I mean, that's certainly, that's something that we don't usually want to think about, is when is it time to walk on by, right? And to move on to the next thing, not because it's the next new shiny and bright thing, but rather because it's time to let something go that we need not continue holding on to. That's certainly a message about embracing the day. Embracing today. What are other ways that you can embrace the day? Being fully alive. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with not going into autopilot, right? Because so much of what we do, particularly our work and family life rhythms, once we start doing a groove, we can easily tap out mentally and go into autopilot. And so how do we not let ourselves do that? How do we actually stay present for all that we can experience, all that we're currently doing, all that we are living for right here and right now? What are different ways that we can do that? Is it worth doing? Certainly. Come on. It's got to be. I would say it is. So if it's worth staying awake in your own life, because this is the life that we have. So if this is the life that we have and it's worth staying awake for, and I'm not talking about whether you're a morning person or a night person, like that's trivial to me. Listen to your body, listen to your routines. If you're a night owl, stay up late at night. If you're a morning person, get up early. If you're a real weirdo, get minimal sleep or get tons of sleep. Go either way with it. That's my thoughts. If you want to join the conversation, the number to join 617-843-5393 is the way that you can join the conversation. Or feel free to lighten yourself with a comment online, either on YouTube or if you're listening up on a podcast, feel free to check out a podcast. What is it that makes you come alive? How do you actually seize the day? What are you doing to make sure that you are not just exhausting yourself, but knowing that this is the life that you have? How is it that you are making sure that you are coming alive? How are you embracing your day? And are you doing that today? I think it's a helpful reminder, right? To not just embrace the day for the future, saving up for something, waiting until later for something, but making sure that no one's guaranteed tomorrow, right? So if no one's guaranteed tomorrow, how is it that you are living your life right now and making sure that if tonight is the night, not that kind of night, but if tonight's the night that things go sideways, how are you making sure that you are fully capturing and fully investing in this moment in time? Yeah, I mean, that's what we all want, isn't it? Certainly. Come on. Don't play with me. How do I know this? How do I seem so certain about this? Well, as I admitted earlier, there are things that I seemed certain on in my youth that I outgrew and learned otherwise. So how can I be so certain about this? I'm not 100% certain, if I'm being totally honest. And this goes back to Chris's comment regarding incorporating opposing perspectives. And I think that we can do that by admitting that I am not 100% certain on whatever I've determined this life to be. That there's a margin of error there. And if there is, in fact, a margin of error there, well, then I know that my perspective is just that. It's my perspective. So let's go ahead and admit that none of us is perfect, right? And if you didn't have your lived experience, you wouldn't be containing the perspective and thoughts and viewpoints that you have. So ultimately, I'm looking for balance. And in searching, in seeking out balance, I know I know that I can be more alive in this moment. For anyone just tuning in, we are down deep in a rabbit hole of really inspiration and encouragement and motivation surrounding you living your life, doing what it is that you feel as though you should be doing, that you think that you should be doing. That this is for you one gigantic, I guess, verbal. It's a one gigantic verbal hug saying, you know what? You can do this. The this is whatever you feel called to. And there are parameters within this, right? The parameters being no harm to self and no harm to others. I think those are two good parameters that keep us within the game of life. Quick shout out to Coach Brad, who just chimed in just with a word of encouragement about connecting soon. Absolutely, Brad. Hope to get you on the show soon to find out about what it is that motivates you to get going with boxing with youth. Because that's a perspective that is completely outside of my own. And that's why I do deep dives with special guests that I have on the show. It's not every Sunday. And when it does happen, I feel like it's just a special time together to deep dive and do conversations surrounding really interesting topics that are outside of my normal purview. Just like last week, talking about food economics with Dr. Ricky Volpe. The conversation I felt like was outside of my wheelhouse in a good way because I learned something, right? And in learning things, that's one way that we can actually make sure that we are in tune with life, paying attention to the moment, getting outside of our own perspective, and being who we ought to be. Because we're not human doings, we're human beings. I mean, you've heard that before from other people. You've heard that before from me. So ways that we can embrace this moment, embrace this day, embrace our loved ones. I mean, I'm wild enough to say even embrace our enemies. Why embrace our enemies? Well, because I think there's something there we can still learn from. And going back to, I love how many of these conversations, they're not like circles, but they are cyclical. We cover different topics that all seem to relate to each other. So earlier, I was talking about how there are times that we need to let things go, right? So in letting things go, that means that we've learned a lesson. You don't need to harbor ill will towards anyone because you learned a lesson, especially even if they're the ones teaching you something. Because the good news is, once you get it, you get it. You don't need to relive that lesson again. You don't need to relearn something from that lesson again. So in paying attention, in learning lessons, you can actually figure out what to do next when you're making decisions. And again, it doesn't have to be purchasing decisions. It can be, how am I spending my time right now? Which is a purchasing decision of a different color horse or something. Right. Spending time, you're still spending something. So it's not a purchasing decision, but it is a purchasing decision because you're spending your time. And how you're doing that matters to the people in your life. How you're doing that matters to even strangers that you come across. And you get to choose, when you come across different people, how you're interacting with them. And I am on the optimistic side that we can be more civil. We can be kind and gentle with other people, just as we are more so with ourselves. Right? We can just naturally extend that out. It doesn't have to be something. There's that breath again. Oh, it's good, isn't it? When you're paying attention to your breath. Yeah, extending that out. It doesn't have to be something that we need to really hold on to tightly. No, it can be something that we can just release and let go. And that is how we can embrace this moment more. Would love to have you join the conversation. Let me know if I'm thinking crazy thoughts, if I'm onto something, or maybe if in fact I'm not onto something, which could be the case. 617-843-5393 is the number to call. You're also welcome to comment on any of the podcast links that you are listening to the show on. But yeah, I think that you can do this. You are up for the challenge, my dear friend. And I know, not for certain, but I know within me that you can do great things. And by great, I don't mean monumental. I actually mean little things like live for today. I mean things like be a full human being. That's why this is an audible, encouraging hug for you. Because I know that you can do it. That's what I'm trying to do. And here's the beautiful thing, right? You're not alone on this journey, on this little adventure that we call life. How do I know? Well, I'm right here with you, at least every single Sunday evening. Right here, baby. Raising Your Inner Voice with Jay Foss. We're diving all the way down into embracing today on this fine episode of Raising Your Inner Voice.
Want to connect with Jay? Dial in as we continue Raising Your Inner Voice.
Are you worried about the stock market, your 401k, or rising costs? Hi, I'm Luke Noble of Noble Financial Group. As a certified financial planner, I know you can't plan for everything, but our dedicated team of professionals can better prepare you so your money lasts as long as you do. Let us help. Visit NobleFinancialGroupLLC.com.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through MML Investor Services. Member SIPC. Noble Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of MML Investor Services.
Hi, folks. Paul from Gentilly Brewing. Have you been to our tap room in Beverly, Massachusetts yet? No? What? Oh, come on. All of our beer is gluten reduced, and we make our own hard seltzer cocktails and shandies. And we are dog and family friendly. Always. Our tap room is more than just beer. Pack up the kids and the dogs and come to 59 Park Street and see it for yourself. Or leave them at home. You'll be back. For upcoming events, hours, and to see our current beer list, visit GentillyBrewing.com. That's GENTILE brewing.com to plan your visit.
What does living a better life mean? And what's your process in figuring that out? If you want to join in the conversation live, tune in Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you want to gather your thoughts first, record a voice memo and email it to jay.foss@me.com, because I would love to have your voice in this conversation. If you think someone else might need a conversation like this one, then let them know to get involved.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber. Professional builders choose Anderson Windows because they are the #1 trusted and recommended window and door brand in the United States. Anderson Windows and patio doors offer beautiful natural wood interiors, low maintenance exteriors, and outstanding energy efficiency. See the complete line of Anderson Windows on display at Moynihan Lumber in Beverly, North Reading, and Plastown, New Hampshire, or visit us at MoynihanLumber.com.
Moynihan Lumber, we measure up.
Not just another talk show. It's time to be heard. Online and on air. Raising your inner voice with Jay Foss.
And welcome back to today, the day that you're listening to Raising Your Inner Voice. Today is still today. Tomorrow has not come yet. And yesterday is a far glimpse in the mirror. My dear friend, hope that you are embracing today. Would love to find out how you're doing that. I'm laughing just because, I don't know, it seems like a silly topic almost, doesn't it? Embrace today. Silly because hopefully you're doing that anyways, but I think that it does come time to time where we all need a little reminder, right? To get out of the rut, get out of the way that we were living, and focus on this moment in time right here and right now. Yeah, it's time for that. And you can do it. You're able to. You're capable of doing that. Doing what again? Of embracing the day, of living fully alive and making sure that you are doing it the best that you can do. Being kind and gentle with yourself, sharing that same grace with other people. It seems like many times people are good at one or the other. A lot of people are either good at being kind and gentle with themselves, but not with other people, or there are other people who are good at giving out grace to others, but aren't kind and gentle with themselves. And then there are those wild unicorns that I'm striving to be like, who can do both. I don't know how you do it, but you do. And when I come across you, I'm blown away at your flexibility to not only be kind and gentle with yourself, but also in sharing that with other people, in expanding, in growing. And being, I mean, the way I'm describing it, it sounds like I'm describing adults. Not boring adults, but fun adults, right? Who have learned and matured and grown up a certain way. That they know how to properly not judge themselves and not overly judge other people at the same time. And why is it that we swing from kind of people who overly focus on themselves to people who overly focus on others? I have no clue. But it's an observation that I'm making. that I think the balance is where we want the health, right? That's where we don't want opposition for opposition's sake, but rather being able to embrace others and embrace ourselves. That is a worthwhile endeavor. That is a worthwhile venture that I'm striving towards in finding that balance of being a fully alive human being, particularly since it seems like a lot of us, and I'm putting myself in this category, a lot of us are immature adults, i.e., we're children acting on our childish behaviors in adulthood, but we're not really fully adults. What do you think? Does that seems like a crazy idea. Would love to have you join the conversation when you're ready. No pressure. This is like the opposite of a you must call now. It's no, I'll be here. I'll wait for you. Ways to get in touch with me. Feel free to call or text 617-843-5393 or comment on any of the platforms that you're listening on, and would love to get your feedback. Would love to get you involved in the show in any way that you wish to be involved in the show. Topic ideas, guest ideas, I'm open to it all. Any and all of the above. Why? Because that's how I can grow. That's how I can bring in more perspectives on raising your inner voice. And quite honestly, that's how I can bring in more perspectives into my life. It's kind of it's my own personal development challenge. This program, it's about helping myself and helping other people together. Because we're in this life together. And I think that knowing numerous thoughts at once. Knowing that we can find that balance will help us live for and embrace today. That's what I got for you today, my friend. You can do this. You can do this. Embrace the day. And hopefully we can embrace it each day. Not just today, but each day we can embrace being alive in this moment in time with all the worries that we have, with all the hopes and ambition that we have. It's worth doing. So, my dear friend, as I'm wrapping up the show, I leave you with my same thought that I leave you with each and every week, which is, please be kind and gentle with yourself. But not just yourself. Go ahead and share that same grace with other people.
If you're enjoying this podcast, please help spread the word about raising your inner voice. Join the conversation live. Email jay.foss@me.com to suggest ideas to explore. Also, share this podcast with your friends. Let those who need conversations like this have a chance to check it out.
Then let them know to get involved.